Bredasdorp, a name that meant little to most people until one February morning when the world came to know it through pain. Nestled in the Western Cape of South Africa, Bredasdorp is a modest town, one main road, low brick houses, and the kind of quiet that feels like time forgot to move forward. In many ways, it was a place that barely made the news. Until 2013, Anene Booysen lived here, just 17 but already older than her years. Her smile hid the kind of sorrow no child should ever carry. Her biological mother had given her up, and she had bounced between foster homes. Eventually, a kind woman named Anna took her in and raised her as her own. Life wasn't perfect, but Anene was doing her best, working in construction, dreaming of building a better life, brick by brick. A constant, she wasn't a stranger to hardship, but she never let it define her. Those who knew her say she had a way of making people laugh, even when things were bleak. They called her tough but sweet, determined but soft-spoken. She carried the kind of light that only comes from knowing darkness and surviving it. On February 1st, 2013, a Friday night, Anene went out with friends to a local bar, a modest place with loud music and cheap drinks. She was wearing a hoodie, jeans. She smiled, laughed, took photos. Everything seemed normal, harmless, just a girl trying to enjoy a night out. But that night would end in silence. Around 1 a.m., she left the bar, alone. CCTV footage would later confirm this. What happened next is hard to fully piece together because the only person who could truly tell us didn't survive. Early the next morning, a construction worker walking past a deserted building site found something. Someone. It was Anene. Her body had been dumped. She was lying in the dirt, mutilated, beaten, barely breathing. She had been subjected to a level of violence so extreme, even hardened investigators struggled to process it. Her injuries were catastrophic. It wasn't just an assault, it was torture. She was rushed to the hospital, but her body was broken. Yet somehow, Anene held on. In those final moments of consciousness, she whispered the name of her attacker, Johannes Kana. That name would set off a chain reaction. A man in his early 20s, a man Anene knew. He wasn't a stranger. He was familiar, comfortable. That made it worse. That made it terrifying. Police arrested Kana later that day. He confessed, not to the full crime, but to part of it. He admitted to raping Anene, but denied killing her. Claimed he left her alive. Said someone else must have done the rest. But the evidence didn't lie. The investigation moved fast. South Africa watched in shock. This wasn't just another crime. It was a mirror held up to the face of a nation where gender-based violence was far too common, but rarely punished. Anene's case became a symbol. Her name lit up social media. Hashtag justice for Anene, hashtag stop rape. Thousands took to the streets, in anger, in grief, in fear. Not just because of what happened to her, but because of what it meant for every other woman walking alone at night. In court, the trial unfolded quickly. Johannes Kana's defense fell apart. Witnesses contradicted him. Forensic evidence tied him directly to the scene. His story changed too many times. The judge called the crime monstrous and sentenced him to life in prison. But even as the gavel fell, the courtroom remained heavy. Because justice in this case felt too late. Anene was gone, and her death exposed not just one monster, but many. It revealed how often victims are ignored, how women fear speaking up, how survivors are blamed, how a girl's pain can go unnoticed until it's too late. Bredasdorp changed after that. Schools began talking more about consent. Community centers offered workshops, but it still wasn't enough. Politicians made speeches, celebrities shared posts, but the violence didn't stop. Anene's case was a spotlight, but a brief one. And for many women in South Africa, the darkness returned just as quickly. Her foster mother, Anna, said in an interview, "She was just a girl, my girl. She didn't deserve this. No one does." Years later, people still leave flowers at the spot where Anene was found. A memorial stone stands quietly in the dirt, unmoving, cold. But her name, carved in silence, speaks louder than any scream. Anene Booysen didn't want to be a symbol. She wanted to live, to love, to be more than a story whispered in candlelight. But now, her name reminds us of the pain we ignore, the justice we delay, the girls we lose, and the responsibility we all share.